Okay, you see the title for this video is The Illusion of the Cosmos. And I got my silly hat on, so if you don't want to take me seriously, that's more than fine. I have my green drink from Superfood. It's apple juice that my wife and I juice, and then we put superfood. It's one of the best things you can put in your body, my friend. Paul said, till we all come into the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God, unto a perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ, that we henceforth be no more children tossed to and fro, and carried about by every wind of doctrine, by the sleight of man and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive. So Paul warned new believers that spirits guiding men, are going to use sleight of hand. They're going to create illusions that appear to be true that are not true. And they're going to use these to try to deceive you, because the devil lost your soul, so he wants to try to get your life. An illusionist presents a false or unreal perception, a deceptive appearance or impression. An illusionist is a person who performs tricks that deceive the eye. That's what he's talking about here. Cunning craftiness, sleight of men. Okay, deception. Remember that Jesus warned about deception, in multiple places. After the apostles asked Jesus a three-part question, because the same answer worked for all three parts. Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. Now, of course, this isn't dealing with the cosmos. It's about other deceptions. But even in this, Jesus said, and the moon shall not give her light. Okay, and the stars shall fall from heaven. So if those stars are falling from heaven at the second coming, after 13 billion light years away, they're on the way. They should be able to measure that. Okay, but it's easier to deceive people than to convince them they have been deceived. When I first came across this idea of the cosmos, at first I thought, that's interesting. And I think that's a valid reaction. That's interesting. I didn't go irrational. I didn't go bonkers. I didn't go crazy. I just noticed, that is a problem that the heliocentric model does have. Yeah, that is a problem that they have. And then when I became persuaded of it, because of simple truths that I will give in this video, but also what's kind of cements me further into this belief is the irrational reaction. I mean, some of the Christians almost think that this is a major doctrine of some type. And then what also convinces me further, persuades me further, is the illusions of the heliocentric side, continually creating illusions to deceive. I want to give you an example here of an illusion. Okay, here, very short video. I got the sound turned off. If you would, count how many times players wearing white pass the basketball. Maybe I will count with you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So how many passes did you count, my friend? Okay. Let's see what they say. 15. So I got it right. 15. But, okay, my friend, when you saw that, did you see a gorilla? You might say, what are you, nuts? Okay, let's rewind it and see. And this tells us that a personal desires determine what you notice in an environment. Do you see? There he is, the gorilla, who you didn't see most likely the first time through. And that's the credit to whom that credit is due. Let me give you another example of illusions. Okay, in this painting here, it looks like you got 4 flowers, but it looks like these two are, complying with each other. They are in favor of each other. They are developing a friendship. And then this one is reaching out to this one, but this one seems like he or she doesn't really want to, relate with them. So there's the flowers. Okay, do you see anything else within this painting? Now, once you see it, that's about all you can see. Once an illusion is exposed, that's about all you can see. So we have an S, E, X. There's the illusion. The devil will hide his illusions right there in plain sight. God hides truth often in plain sight, and the devil hides his illusions in plain sight. And this is supposed to be illegal to use advertisements like this. Here is a book that I would encourage you to take a look at. The Age of Manipulation, The Con and Confidence, and the Sin and Sincere. And the author here goes in great detail about the illusions in advertisements. It's supposed to be illegal, but if we go to 2 Corinthians, because Lucifer will use sexual images that a person's subconscious picks it up, and then a spirit will take the subconscious and influence their buying. Okay, here's an example. But I fear lest by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety, so your mind should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Christ. Beguilement is implying sexual. That's what that's implying. And of course, the devil will use sexual things that a person's subconscious picks it up, okay, but they don't see it directly often, and it will influence their buying power. Could it be that your perception of the cosmos is not reality? And maybe you're going to say, well, I don't care what you're saying. Okay, you're verifying my point here. Now, often the heliocentric sun worshippers react, and they will say that I am delusional for believing this idea of the flat earth. And maybe I am delusional. I got my hat on to maybe look delusional. But do you think that your insulting of a person of this is going to persuade them? I say there's illusions that have deceived us. You see, when you accent upon the illusion, you're not challenging the intellect and belittling another person. You're trying to educate them about the illusions. Now, the other, they were going to challenge your nerve and say how stupid you are and everything. And is that how you witness and give forth the gospel of Jesus Christ to that lost sinner? You idiot, you ought to believe this. I mean, boy, that's going to really pan out. This is a video that I put together previously. The flat earth derangement syndrome is exposing the irrational reaction to the idea. It's very irrational. It's very similar to the Trump derangement syndrome that the lefties have. I heard a brother in Christ say, and I thought it's a very, very wise statement that he said, and this man wisely stated regarding beliefs: in essentials, unity; in non-essentials, liberty; in all things, charity. And then he summarized it this way. He said, he followed that wise statement with agree to disagree agreeably. That's pretty good. Agree to disagree agreeably. But on this subject. He irrationally, the same man, irrationally desires no fellowship and bullies people to maybe jokingly say he's going to give them a flat nose. And a person like this, I certainly wouldn't want to be overseeing our nursery, because he just might throw the baby out with the bathwater. How could a person change so much like that? Now, this same individual has, a great admiration for Dr. Ruckman, and I learned a lot of wonderful things from Dr. Ruckman. But look at what they sell down at PBI, the bookstore, The Biblical and Observational Case for Geocentricity. When I first heard about that, I thought, that just don't make sense. And it doesn't make sense on a globe at all, but it certainly does make sense on a flat and stationary plane. So is he going to say that these people are delusional and he won't have fellowship with them? No, he ain't going to say that. He'd lose some of his subscribers and he'd lose some, people that listen to him. No, he's not going to say that. You see, your personal desires determine what you notice in the environment. And if something is not relevant to your desires, you do not see it. Now, this was prophesied by the Lord Jesus in Matthew chapter 11, after Matthew 12, when the nation of Israel as a people committed the unpardonable sin. Jesus started going into parables, and I'm just going to look at one of the parables. And this one says, he put forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. And while men slept, an enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. And when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the tares would be the weeds. And so you have the wheat and the weeds are counterfeit of the wheat. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst thou not sow good seed in the field? From whence then hath it tares? He said unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servants said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? And he said, Nay, lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. And at the time of the harvest I will say to the reapers, Gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them. So that'd be the second coming. But to gather the wheat into my barn, that would be Israel going into the millennium. Now this was explained to the apostles by Jesus. Okay, good seed was sowed by the Son of Man. Field is the world. Good seed are the children of the kingdom. So doctrinally, this is aiming at Israel. But the tares are the children of the wicked one. So in Israel, you have true natural-born Jews and fake Jews. Jesus said, some say they are Jews and are not, or of the synagogue of Satan. So there we go, children of the wicked one. The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world. Okay, and the reapers are the angels. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of the world. What is this prophesying? This is prophesying that truth and error will be intermingled, and it will be so much intermingled during the closing days that it's going to be difficult to tell them apart. You see, now, if you can spot, hereby know we the spirit of truth and the spirit of error, if you can spot the difference between error, when error looks like truth, and truth when it looks like error, but if you can spot the attitude of them, then you're very much ahead of this game. In Romans chapter 2, if we look up the word form in the Bible, so right off the bat, the earth was without form and void, and darkness upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. So what does physics say that water would have been? Level. Okay, with the exception of the wind blowing. But here we have in Romans 2:20, this is about, if you run up to 19 and go to 21, the Jewish people claim that they are instructors of the foolish, a teacher of babes or babies, which hath the form of knowledge and of the truth in the law. Today, Israel has the form of knowledge and the form of the truth. That's called the Talmud. It's not truth, it's an appearance of truth. Now, he brought this up within the church, also Paul did, because this is verse 5 of chapter 3, and it says about the church having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. So what do? From such turn away. A form of godliness is an appearance of godliness, but it's not godly. Now, if you want to see this manifested, just ask certain questions and you'll see the fangs come out. Okay, now I'm going to focus on an organization that receives $25 billion annually to create illusions of the cosmos. Now, in Isaiah chapter 14, remember that Lucifer said that he is going to exalt his throne above the stars of God in Isaiah 14, verse 12. See, look at this, 14, 12, 13, 14. I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit upon the mountain of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the cloud. I will be like the Most High. Okay, so what does the Bible say about someone who has an infatuation with going up in the stars? Well, that's Lucifer. So that ought to kind of cause us to think a little bit. And then in Genesis 11, when the 13th generation from Adam, Nimrod, thought that they would try to build a city and a tower that would reach unto heaven. Think they could do that? Oh, they must have been able to. That's why the Lord came down and messed up the languages. So we have two strikes against the idea of NASA, of somebody being infatuated with going up. And of course, NASA's symbol is like this. So you got the stars and all this stuff, and I guess this is the planet's, speeding through space. But what is this red thing here? What is this red thing? If I would do this, would it seem to make a little more sense? This red thing, maybe is this Lucifer, who's anointing himself above the stars of God? I don't know. That's their enigma. Now, in the idea of these illusions, intelligence is not the criteria for understanding truth. That's not the criteria. Honesty, humility, sincerity, willingness, those are the inward qualities that one needs to understand the truth. Okay, NASA talks about, some people are talking about going to Mars, blah, 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 blah. I would dare say that Mars is probably Devon's Island with some red tint on it, because I have seen video footage of Curiosity being on Devon's Island. You say, well, that's probably where they practice. Well, maybe it is, or maybe that's where they create an illusion. Mars, a pagan god that Paul preached at, in Athens. And did you know that there are no pictures of the earth, all of the entire earth, the globe, none, 0 pictures of the earth. And supposedly some Freemasons went to the moon 6 times and they all forgot a camera. Whoa, what a thing. They all forgot a camera. What is called the blue marble, I've heard the man who created this computer-generated image say that this is just computer-generated. It's an image. It is not a photo of the blue ball. Through the years of me questioning NASA, I have seen the illusion trying to be created on the ISS, International Space Station, where women will have their hair sprayed straight up, like they're supposed to be in 0 gravity. And they have harness cables that try to make them float across. And then they wear contact lenses that the lenses will show them a computer image that they reach out and try to touch, and sometimes the computer glitches. And NASA is the biggest customer of helium. Remember the China spy balloon? And NASA uses green screen and blue screens and project images on it to create an illusion. I have personally witnessed and heard 4 or 5 NASA employees admit that no one has ever traveled beyond low Earth orbit. Now, did they mean it? I have witnessed, and can you witness and notice that when a rocket goes up, how it curves and then goes horizontal? I did a little investigation on the Columbia that supposedly that exploded. I remember when I saw that on TV, we were shelling popcorn at a farmer's place. Man, just remember it like it is because a false flag. And supposedly 7 people died on that, and so then some people had NASA need another 7 astronauts. But then I have discovered that 4 or 5 of those people are still living. 2 are twins. 2 didn't even change their name. Why do they have to do this? This is what Daniel would have believed, where it looks like a globe, but that's not really what it is, because you have a flat, stationary Earth here, the firmament here, the sun, moon, and stars, the lights of the Earth are in the firmament, and the ice wall, ice is all the way around it. And below it, the great deep, the foundations of the earth. This is what Daniel would have believed. Why? Because he believed in science. But look what the new Bibles do with the word science. They take science out. It's gone. That's one of 2 times the word science is found in the Bible. Let's go look for the other one. Oppositions of science, falsely so called. Oh, this is a fake science, pseudoscience. Paul warned Timothy about fake science, pseudoscience, but the new Bibles, New King Jimmy, take the word science from the text so you can't overcome the illusion. Here's the definition of science: observation, experimentation, watching, measuring, doing experiments. The word experiments found 1 time in the Bible, and guess, I'll give you 1 guess, or 3 guesses, and the first 2 don't count. Guess what the new Bibles do with the word experiments? Observing, experiments, observing, experiments, observing, identification, investigation. Daniel learned Scripture with science. Science was very helpful to him. Now, earlier this year, it's been advertised by a very wealthy man who's a globe believer, and he wants to prove the flat earth wrong. I mean, he's going to spend hundreds and thousands of dollars supposedly to take some flat earthers and some globe guys down to Antarctica to prove that there is a midnight sun in Antarctica. And so, yes, and once they did that, everybody, the ones who only see what they want to see, the ones who only see what they want to see, counting the ball and not seeing the gorilla. Their personal desires determine what you noticed in the environment. The fella that funded this was a guy named Will Duffy, and I've seen him say, I've heard him say that neither lying nor deception are inherently wrong. That's the guy that funded him. And the Globers they're excited. This is the final experiment. Well, then it wouldn't be science. You're supposed to keep experimenting. The video footage is very suspicious, and here's just one picture. So these are supposed to be a couple globe guys, a couple flat earth guys. I'm not sure. And notice this is December 2024, and this is December 2016. And so what do we do? We look at the illusions. Looky here. The snow formation's fascinating. The same. Here. Looks like that snow didn't move for 8 years. What is that? Why would dare say somebody's using a green screen or a blue screen? 8 years apart. Why? Why do they have to lie to people? I have no idea. You know, personally, I would rather have questions that cannot be answered than answers that cannot be questioned. Yeah, I would rather have questions that cannot be answered. Do you have all the answers in the flat earth? No. Do you have all the answers for the heliocentric model? No. Can you challenge and question a heliocentric model? No. Can you question the flat earth model? Of course. You see, I would rather have questions that cannot be answered than answers that cannot be questioned. So I'm going to give you some clear scientific facts we all can agree with. I don't care wherever you want to accept the idea of the cosmos or not. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. But I'm going to give you some place of starting where we all agree on. These are not complex. We do not allow the complex to overthrow the clear, plain, and simple. Okay, at least you shouldn't. Okay, the plain and simple. Number one, large bodies of water at rest are level. Okay, is that a scientific truth? Is that a law of physics? Have you seen that with a pond, a swimming pool, a cup, a bowl, a lake? Lake Michigan, Lake Ontario. Have you seen it at the Atlantic Ocean? You say, no, I haven't seen it. Oh, yes, you have. You're not looking for it. Oh, yes, you have. You got to be looking for it. If something is not relevant to your desires, you do not see it. Okay, so that is a clear, obvious, scientific fact. Large bodies of water at rest are level. You call it sea level, don't you? Yes, sea level. The Red Sea, it's level. Yeah, Mediterranean Sea, it's level. Yeah. Okay, second, very clear and obvious truth that is scientific, but you got to watch out for science falsely so-called, because Daniel believed in science, understanding science. Water needs a container to rest level. Liquid water needs a container to rest level. Yeah, that's right. I mean, you've seen that in a cup, in a container, in a bowl, plastic, glass, porcelain, water. That's a scientific fact, right? Water needs a container in order to rest level. If it doesn't have the container, then it will flow. And if it's on the earth, then it will create a crooked river. Why? Because that's what water does. You've seen that. I've seen that. So, according to Job 26:10, Job said, he hath compassed the waters with bounds. A boundary. Why? Because water needs a container to rest level. He hath compassed the waters with bounds until the day and night come to an end. Could it be? You can accept it if you don't. You can reject it if you want. You don't have to see it if you don't want. Here's the container. An ice wall. How about this one? An ice wall. That is huge. That's like 150, 200 feet high. An ice wall. Is this the container that's holding the sea level? Well, I'm of the belief, and look how tiny these people are, and you can see in proportionate. See, where Job said that God has appointed a container right here, compass the water with bounds. A boundary. A boundary. Third, very simple truth is the horizon is horizontal. Yes, it is. Now you go to the ocean, stand on a beach and look at it, you will see that the horizon is horizontal. If you don't want to see that, if you claim that you see a curve, fine. You want to see what you want. If you want to believe the illusion in your mind, you're welcome to do that. I'm not saying you're ignorant or stupid. I'm just saying an illusion can really cause us preconceived ideas. Okay, let me give you an example of this. Okay, this is a fella who claims to have jumped from space. And you can see, oh yes, we have the globe. Oh, he's up there. We got the. I'm kind of curious how the camera must have had a really very long, thing for him to take a selfie. But okay, there it is, the globe. And so if we keep watching, and let's keep watching here, look at the globe. Oh, look at the curvature. See how it is? Oh, wow. Ooh, what's that? What's that? I didn't know that the Earth was concave. Whoa! I didn't know that. Wow, that's a new one on me. Yes. Watch that Earth. Oh, it goes flat. It goes horse. Of course, he's got an angle. Look at that. Oh, watch it. Oh, wow. Somebody's creating an illusion. What is that evidence of? A fisheye lens. Now here's some Dude Perfect. I like Dude Perfect. I enjoy it. I'm glad for the guys have made a good living off of trick shots and everything. But there's something they can't do, is they can't go against the idea of the globe. So supposedly one of the twins, and they do have a bunch of funny things, and I think they're believers in the Lord. At least they claim to be, and that's great, man. I'm happy for him. But he's supposedly flying in an airplane going up into space. But look at, is that too narrow to show a horizon? Is it too narrow for you, for your liking? Is that too narrow for you? It's not for me. There we are again. Boy, almost a little bit on the concave side. So he's experiencing zero gravity. Oh, and they're floating in the airplane, and they're having fun. But look at that horizon. Isn't that amazing? Fascinating. But you see, there we are, zero gravity. And this is the place you can go if you want to experience zero gravity. And so we'll keep looking. Look at this. Oh man, they're up in space, experiencing, the zero gravity. Just fascinating. Oh, now we got the globe. Oh, so that's a blessing that you can see that. Oh, we have the globe there. Just a wonderful idea. Oh, the globe really. And now you can see the horizon coming across. Now here is the group that they hired to do this. Gravity is overrated. Yes. You experience true zero gravity where you can float, flip, and soar as if in space. What is that? It's just a plane that goes up, takes a nosedive down, and they experience zero gravity. So, number 3, the horizon is still horizontal. Number 4, there is no evidence, I haven't seen it, there's no evidence of a measurable curve. Okay, no evidence whatsoever. Now this is what the globe people say. This is not me. This is what the globe people are saying. And here's a chart for it. See, this is not me. This is not, a goofy, deluded, Bible thumping, flat earther. This is what they say. This is the calculation of the globe and everything. So this is not me. So 1 mile, you got 0.67 feet curvature down. 2 miles, 3 miles, 5 miles, 10 miles, 66 feet. When I get on I-65 to head south to go home after Sunday night church, I get on exit 240. At exit 230, which is 10 miles away, there's a sign that has red and green advertisements for the price of fuel. I can see that from State Road 2. I shouldn't be able to see that. It should be below the horizon. Why can I see that? Why can you see across Lake Michigan to see the Chicago High Line when you shouldn't be able to see it? The High Line should be that far below. This is scientific fact. There's no evidence of measurable curve. Boats do not go over the horizon. No, watch this with Bill Nye. Bill Nye, he's a comedian. Yeah, he's a comedian that deceptively deceives children. And, he got some medal from Crooked Joe Biden. And so he's going to show some science, curvature of the earth, horizon, model of science in a set. He's got a plaster of Paris or something here showing science. And then he warns about pseudoscience while he shows pseudoscience. Watch as the boat goes over the curve. Oh yes, watch on his model in the studio. Oh yes, the boat, look at it's tipping away. It's going over the horizon. Oh yes, we are so impressed. Will die. That's my name for Bill. Will die. He said what he just showed is proving curvature of the earth, and he calls it science. This isn't science. This is fakery. This is an illusion. And then he warns against pseudoscience, while he just displayed pseudoscience. If he wanted to show science, he would have gone to the shore, wherever the studio's at, get on the beach, watch a plane or watch a boat go over the horizon or into the horizon, wait 10 minutes, get binoculars, and the poor boy that will die, he will see that boat because he doesn't want to show you science. This is how people are deceived of the illusion of the cosmos. You see, Daniel had science, Paul warned of pseudoscience, and when you intermingle them, you don't tell the student in biology class or in the universities, they cannot or rarely discern between the two. Okay, let's try another scientific fact. No one, including me and you, no one feels the four motions of the earth. Okay, the heliocentric professors claim that the earth is spinning 1,000 miles an hour, speeding 66,000 miles an hour, and the earth is spiraling around the sun at about 500,000 miles per hour. And the sun is space wobbling at 1 to 2 million miles an hour. You can make it up, whatever it is. That's four different motions. Whenever I point this out in comments to people, they'll say, well, I don't feel the speed in the car. And I will say, you're right. You're exactly right. You don't feel the speed in the car, but if your car flipped a second motion, would you feel it? Of course you would. No one feels the four motions of the heliocentric model that they claim. That is a fact. That is a scientific fact. And in Joshua 10, when Joshua was in this battle, notice what he said when he was afraid that the sun was going to go down and they were going to lose the opportunity to win the battle. Joshua said, "Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou moon in the valley of Ajalon." Now, folks that don't want to accept this idea says that Joshua was speaking poetry, so I can imagine Joshua called one of his generals over and said, "Hey, you got that book of poems? I need to say something." And he says, no, it is a Bible statement by Joshua. He ordered the sun to stand still upon Gibeon and the moon in the valley of Ajalon. And then the narrative said the sun stood still and the moon stayed. The narrative said the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, hastened not to go down, about a whole day. That's what the narratives say. Are you a Bible believer? I be a Bible believer. B-I-B-U-L, Bible believer. That's what I be. And if you want to make that poetry, be my guest. Joshua ordered the sun and moon to stand still. Number 7, fact. Clear fact. You may not accept this one, but I know it's a clear fact. NASA still does not have one picture of the globe. Not one. On the 6 moon missions, no one brought a camera. None. None brought a camera. Number 8, scientific fact and clue, not a clue but a fact, is that the North Star, or Polaris, remains constant over the North Pole. So constant that ships can navigate on the sea level. Ain't that something? How does that take place if the Earth is spinning, speeding, spiraling, and space wobbling throughout the galaxy? Maybe you know how it is, but man, it don't make sense to me. Number 9 is Florida is still flatter than a pancake. This is a study in the Atlantic where they studied the flatness of Kansas and Florida. They discovered was the flattest. Indiana was the 10th flattest. So this study says science. This is science. Several U.S. states, led by Florida, are flatter than a pancake. And I did a whole video on that, so there's no use rehashing it. Number 10 statement is that condescension or condemnation is not the biblical approach to persuasion. So we'll start with scripture on this idea and then experiment to see how people react with condensation and condemnation, and that would be your science experiment. In John chapter 8, verse 11, this is the woman taken adultery in the very act. And so this is a woman a part of fornication. And Jesus asked her, hath no man condemned thee? And then he said, neither do I condemn thee. In 2 Timothy chapter 2, it says, the servant of the Lord must not strive, but be gentle unto all men, apt to teach, gentle, you see, not condemnation, apt to teach, patient, in meekness instructing those that oppose themselves. Okay, in Titus chapter 2, verse 8, sound speech that cannot be condemned. Okay, of the 9 statements, the scientific statements that I've given, can you condemn any of those? Are they sound scientific statements? Sound speech that cannot be condemned, that he that is of the contrary part may be ashamed, having no evil thing to say of you? Are they simple, plain, very foundational scientific statements? Oh, most certainly they are. That's the most certain. So condemnation or condescension, like belittling and berating someone, you can do your own experiment. So here, how about this? How about if you belittle and berate somebody and beat them down with your words? Just beat them down. I mean, and then watch the reaction. See if that does persuade them. Now, I know the flesh loves to beat down while the self-righteous attitude gloats in the beatdown. Anybody can see that. But when you sling mud, you lose ground. And also when you sling mud, you get dirty too. In John chapter 8, if we would change the topic, okay, she was a part of fornication, and Jesus said, neither do I condemn thee. Well, let's change the topic where she was discussing with the scribes and Pharisees the flat earth. And they were having a discussion of the biblical cosmology of the ancient Hebrews, and the scribes and Pharisees were promoting the globe heliocentric model. And so do you think Jesus would have beat her down and said, "Oh, I do condemn thee for that. I wouldn't condemn you. I don't condemn you for, fornication, but I will condemn you for the flat earth idea." It's just amazing to me, the condescension from the heliocentric globe fellas, folks, toward us delusional, ignoramus, idiotic flat earthers. Well, okay, in Romans chapter 12, there's a Bible admonition. And so I'll take that beat down. I'll take those insults, and you can degrade me to a low estate. Well, here it says, "Mind not high things, but condescend to men of low estate." That's the only time the word condescend is found in the Bible. So according to the Bible, you very intelligent, high-minded globe proponents need to, befriend me because I am of low estate. Well, let's try a brief scientific experiment here. Let's try a little condescension here. Now, I'm just putting an experiment out, not that I believe this, but I sort of kind of think that some folks don't want to approach this topic because they are afraid of the ridicule, and they are afraid of a loss of friends, and I understand that. Are you a type of person who avoids this topic like the plague because you fear the ridicule and loss of friends? Now, just a kind of a crude experiment here. Now, I'm not saying that you have to always talk about this topic, because Hebrews 13 verse 9 says that we are not to be carried about with diverse and strange doctrines. For it is a good thing that the heart be established with grace. We ought to have grace, not with meats, which have not profited them that have been occupied then. I don't believe we should be preoccupied with this idea, but I think we ought to know a little bit about it and be able to talk to an individual graciously about it. But here we go. Here's a crude experiment. Being raised on a farm, sometimes we kind of do crude things. And I openly apologize, ladies and children. I'm going to try to keep this above the children's head. But could it be this experiment, the ones promoting a ball, grow up hair instead of being a eunuch and not be afraid? Okay, there's our experiment. How did that go? Was that enough to persuade somebody to consider the idea? I doubt it. So it's a failed experiment. Okay, so condescension and condemnation are clearly not the biblical approach to persuade. I know the reaction that people have toward this. It's bizarre. It's just the reaction of people. And you're not persuaded with that very brief experiment we just discussed. This was just an experiment, not my true feelings. This was the first and only experiment that I've ever conducted on that, and it is the final experiment, much better than Will Duffy's. But I don't understand the overzealous reaction, the unreasonable reaction from both sides. Try some humor. Try to laugh about it. If you lose a friend over this topic, I don't think he or she was much of a friend. If you reject other ideas by a person who believes in this just because they believe in this, I don't think that you're an honest student of the truth. If Adam and Eve had trouble with 2 verses, who are you and I when God added 31,100 more? If we go to Romans chapter 14 and look at this passage and apply it in a different way. Now, the two subjects here would be eating dietary, Jewish dietary rules and regulations, and then the other subject would be special holidays. So here, if we use a different topic here, because in the Protestant world there will be different topics. This is kind of a Jewish world. So him that is weak in the faith receive ye, but not to doubtful disputation. So I would be the one weak in the faith because I believe a foolish idea called the flat earth, when NASA and everything else has obviously proven there's a globe. So I am clearly weak in the faith, and so the globe proponents should receive me, not to doubtful disputations. For one believeth that he may eat all things, another who is weak eateth herbs. Let not him that eateth despise him that eateth not. So I don't despise you globe proponents. And let not him which eateth not judge him that eateth, but I do believe you probably do judge me. For God hath received him. Who art thou that judgest another man's servant? So that goes on your conscience, my friend, as far as maybe the globe proponents. To his own master he standeth or falleth. Yea, he shall be holden up, for God is able to make him stand. Fortunately, I'm standing on a flattened stationary plane, so I don't have to hold my balance on a speeding, spinning, spiraling, and space-wobbling ball. One man esteemed one day above another, and another esteemeth every day alike. Okay, so, certain topics. Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. Now, I am fully persuaded, and the statements that I've given, the scientific facts that I've given in this video cannot be overthrown by all the experiments one wants to do down at Antarctica or anything else. I mean, you don't allow complex issues override something that's clear and plain. You see, the clear and plain always overrule the complex and confusion. So are you persuaded? Are you persuaded that none of the 10 statements that I've given can be demonstrated scientifically? Okay, could you allow an illusion to overrule these foundational statements? Yeah, you could. Yes, I could too. Could it possibly be that this topic is something that God could use to cause curiosity in a person to consider the gospel of Jesus Christ? Are you going to cease the witness and walk away in disgust if someone brings this up to you? Or are you going to be graciously talk about it and say, well, I don't really know about some of those things, but I do know about. Okay, are you going to overreact, or are you going to politely, try to segue the conversation to the gospel? You see, this is the kind of the issue is the converts of Catholicism are almost always more zealous against Rome because they discovered a deception. And 99.9% of flat earthers were globe believers at one time in their life, and they are reacting to what they feel to be the deception. Now, if you don't want to discuss it with them, just tell them, okay, and find something else to discuss, I guess you could do. The flat earth proponents, ones who have been persuaded by it, care. They genuinely care for people who they feel are deceived by the illusions of the globe proponents, and because they were deceived by it. Now, anyone can overcome an illusion by a willingness to question oneself. 1 Thessalonians 5:21 says, prove all things and hold fast that which is good. Now, a delusion is the result of one unwilling to question oneself. And in 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 4 and 5, the willing ignorance is associated with the creation of the cosmos. So, my friend, I don't believe that globe proponents are delusional. I don't believe they're stupid and they need a round nose. I just believe that the illusions can trick and deceive any of us at any time. And I'm thankful that I've overlooked and seen the illusions, and these 9 or 10 statements that have been given in this video are so clear, scientific, plain, rudimentary. I mean, you don't want to please don't allow the complex to overrule these clear statements of science.